Behold, their ear is uncircumcised, and they cannot hearken. That's it. Behold, the word of Yahweh is unto them a reproach. They have no delight in it, man. You hear that? It says their ear is uncircumcised. But you know, who's referred to as the uncircumcised? Show that the other nations can't receive this word. It's not in them to receive it. So you have the majority of our people, they're acting like the heathens. They can't receive it. But that goes into what Paul said. He says, they're not the Israel of the Most High. Not all Israel is of Israel. You see that? But that goes now into the elect now. But on what's the rest of Romans? It says Romans chapter 9, verse 5, whose are the fathers, and of whom, as concerning the flesh, Hamashiach came. But let me start from verse 3. I'll read into it. Verse 6. The point is at verse 6. Romans 9, verse 3. For I can wish that myself were accursed from Hamashiach for my brethren, my kinsmen according to the flesh. You are Israelites, to whom pertaineth the adoption and the glory and the covenants and the giving of the law and the service of the Most High and the promises, whose are the fathers, and of whom, as concerning the flesh, Hamashiach came, who is over all, the Most High blessed forever. Amen. Right, so it shows you that all of that was for the Israelites, man. The covenants, the giving of the law, the adoption, the glory to come, right? The promises, that was all for the Israelites. For Paul's brethren, according to the flesh, who are Israelites, man, to whom Yahweh came for. Yahweh came for them. So that shows you for Yahweh, he was the ultimate sacrifice for the Israelites, not for every other people. So when Paul went to the Gentiles, he was going to broken Israelites. That's who he was going to. He was going to Israelites that were into the ideologies and the worshipping of the other nations of people. So let me get to the point. It says, verse 6, not as though the word of the Most High have taken on effect, for they are not all Israel which are of Israel. You hear that? Because you have Israel that they can't get it. And that's why Yahweh Shai, when he told his disciples, he said, listen, it's not for them, man. It's not for them. You got that? Yeah. You got to bring it.
This is Matthew chapter 13, verse 10. And the disciples came and said unto him, why speakest thou unto them in parables?
Right.
He answered and said unto them, because it is given unto you to know the mysteries of the kingdom of heaven, but to them it is not given.
There you go. Coming on.
For whosoever have, to him shall be given, and he shall have more abundance. But whosoever have not, from him shall be taken away, even that he have.
Stop, read that part again. That part he says to him. Read that again.
For whosoever have, to him shall be given.
So if you have works, it shall be given to you, a reward. Come on.
And he shall have more abundance.
Right.
But whosoever have not,
if you don't have works, come on,
from him shall be taken away, even that he have.
Exactly, come on.
Therefore speak I to them in parables, because they see not, and hearing they hear not, neither do they understand.
There you go.
Seeing and hearing.
Neither do they understand. That's the seventh part. That's a 7 cogitation thereof that the Most High imparted to man. The ears, the eyes, the speech to utter, right? But the 7th part was the understanding. So they have ears, but they can't understand. Come on now.
And in verse 14, and in them is fulfilled the prophecy of Isaiah,
Isaiah, yeah.
which saith, by hearing ye shall hear,
Right.
and shall not understand, and seeing ye shall see, and not understand, not perceive,
See, there you
not
go.
perceive.
Perceive, that's likewise as understanding.
Understanding, yes.
Come on now.
Comprehend, yeah. For this people's heart is wax gross, and their ears are dull of hearing.
See, their ears are dull of hearing. See, that's because they can't hear. Yeah, it's unwaxed. Like the covenant said. Their ears are dull of hearing. Now that guy, as soon as we try to tell him some shit, we have to make an excuse to walk
He doesn't
down
want to
the
hear
road.
it. He doesn't want to hear it.
He
at
never
all.
wants to hear it.
Not even that.
Yeah, yeah.
The brother was even writing down things for him. It's like he said, "Oh, you're writing a list there."
Yeah. He was like, let me see.
Yeah.
Trying to fuck him right. Yeah.
Why is that woman as patient?
He should have used that paper to wipe his ass with.
They probably will go in the bin.
He's not gonna watch that, man.
He gonna look at that. He's not sincere.
That was just a hand washing experience for us. That's the blood of our hand. That's all that was.
Yeah.
But so that Holy Spirit worked. He came up, and then minutes later she came up. He said she's so humbleness that she wants to. You understand me?
She had humility.
The humility, but he didn't.
He did not at all. She was of chicken. That's Naphtali. Naphtali.
See the spirit, man. So the signs work. So the sign. She saw the sign in them. You see, we talk about keeping the signs hidden. Because of that, she saw the sign. She spotted it out in the spirit. She asked them down, and that's it.
I want to show us some more from this book. But that's what was imparted to her.
Right.
That is part of understanding.
At least she knows where she comes from,
Yeah.
which is a lot.
Because we even talk about the fringes. I was even going to go into that. That's in Numbers 17, if I'm not mistaken, about to put our fringes on the border of our garments. I was even going to go into that. Right? And that book by James Adair, he read the history of the North American Indians. And that part of how you could see how the people there, the Indians, were related to the ancient Israelites, and that they wore fringes on their garments, man. He noticed that, he lived amongst them. So I was even going to go into that, you know? But yeah, anyway, let's go back to this. The brother's view.
For this people's heart is wax gross, and their ears are dull of hearing.
Their mind is wax gross. I mean, nothing can enter into their mind, man. But the ways of the world can enter into their mind. Stacking money and wickedness can enter into their mind. But the scriptures tell you that in Wisdom of Solomon, that wisdom will not enter into a malicious soul.
Or dwell in the body.
It actually tells you that, man. So coming on.
And their eyes they have closed, lest any time they should see with their ears, with their eyes, and hear with their ears, and should understand with their heart, and should be converted, and I should heal them.
Yeah, because the Lord don't want them. That's the point. The Lord don't want the conversion. What does the word convert mean? It means with truth, man. So the Lord, the Most High don't want them. See, the higher you up here, the higher you go up, is the fewer you're going to find up there.
How you climb.
The higher you climb, is the fewer you're going to find up there. The lower you go, is the more abundance you can find down there.
That's right, yeah.
You know? So the Lord is trying to find the creme de la creme.
Precious gold, the precious dust that gold's made of.
He's trying to find that grape of a cluster. It tells you that in 2nd Ezra. Yeah? That's what the Lord wants. He don't want the whole cluster of grapes. Like when you go to Sainsbury's and you buy grapes, you find a big bag full of a cluster of grapes. The Lord don't want all them grapes that's in that cluster. He just wants one grape. He's as good with the one grape.
And that's powerful because all these grapes now are seedless. Make it even worse.
Yeah, exactly.
It's seedless grapes.
You know?
You said?
You got something going on.
Yeah, this is 2nd Ezra 8, verse 1. And he answered me, saying, the Most High hath made this world for many, but the world to come for few. I will tell thee a similitude, Ezra, as when thou askest the earth, it shall say unto thee, that it giveth much mold, whereof earthen vessels are made, but little dust the gold cometh of. Even so is the present course of this world. There be many created, but few shall be saved.
Right, so it shows you right there. Gold is more rare. So it's more expensive. Okay, it's more precious, it's more highly sought for. So the price is high. Right? But then earth, you can find that anyway, that ain't shit. There's no gold, there's no mines for earth. There's no earth mines.
Yeah.
But they're all gold mines though. Yeah? That's why the currency of America was supposed to be backed by gold.
Yeah.
Gold is a precious resource.
Yeah.
Okay? But I believe, I think it was President Nixon that took the gold off of it. I forget the name of the president that took the gold off. It wasn't Reagan, I don't know what Reagan.
Well, I think he set up the Federal Reserve. I'm not sure if he was the one who took the gold back in off it. It might be Nixon. I think you're right, it might be Nixon.
Yeah. I think it was him. And that's when the dollar, that's when they started, that's the whole deception now. Because the dollar was just a note, man. It was just a note or a receipt.
IOU.
Yeah, just saying, listen, I've got this amount of gold. Yeah? But then they removed the gold and started imprinting loads of dollars. They say, this is the money now. But that wasn't nothing, man. That was just tattooed paper.
That's it.
Yeah.
It's just paper that's tattooed.
And
It's got a lot of tattoos on it.
And going back to what the elders used to preach, tell us, is that by right, when you have a paper money, you should go to the bank and exchange it for exactly gold.
Exactly.
Yeah?
Yeah.
But they removed what it is pure paper. Mean nothing.
It doesn't mean anything. Yeah. And that's why the value of it is decreasing. Because the world is finding out that, listen, man, they ain't backed by no gold. That's not backed by anything. So what is it really? Nothing. Okay? So you have to read it back. But that's a manner to read it again. Read that part again.
Right. 2nd Ezra 8.
What verse is it?
Verse 1. 8 and verse 1. And
Okay.
ready?
But you've already read that part. Jump to verse 39.
Right, so 2nd Ezra 8 verse 39 says, but I will rejoice over the disposition of the righteous, and I will remember also their pilgrimage, and the salvation, and the reward that they shall have.
Because that's a unique pilgrimage that we had, man. Right? Not everybody was on this pilgrimage that we had.
Up to us.
Huh?
Not the call their toothless. It's like I'm just joking.
That guy, man. He had pride in him. He was a nigga. That was a nigga, man, right there. Man. But anyway, the scripture says the Lord will remember our pilgrimage. Why? Because we gave up everything for this, man. This right here is even a pilgrimage. Because what is a pilgrimage? A spiritual traveler.
Yeah.
I mean, he has no certain resting place because he's constantly on the travel. all our ancestors were travelers. Our Abraham was a pilgrim.
Yeah.
Okay?
Even Yahushua said it. He said that foxes have holes.
Yeah, I was about to bring that.
Yeah.
Foxes and holes.
Yes.
Birds have nests, but the Son of Man have nowhere to lay his head.
He is pilgrims on the earth.
Exactly. You see that? Because when they say, it's hold on. It says Hebrews 11, verse 13. It says, these all died in faith, not having received the promises, but having seen them afar off. So that's that vision, the vision of the kingdom. And were persuaded of them, and embraced them, and confessed that they were strangers and pilgrims on the earth. For they that say such things declare plainly that they seek a country. And truly, if they had been mindful of that country from whence they came out, which is the land of Israel, they might have had opportunity to have returned. But now they desire a better country, that is, an heavenly. Wherefore the Most High is not ashamed to be called their God, for he hath prepared for them a city, which is the kingdom, man. Right? So that's the rest that we're waiting for. That's our pilgrimage. So the Lord remembers the pilgrimage of the righteous coming up. Why? Because this is a unique journey that we're on. Right? It's of gold. Come on.
Well, I'll read it again. 2nd Ezra 8 and 39 again. But I will rejoice over the disposition of the righteous, and I will remember also their pilgrimage, and the salvation and the reward that they shall have. Like as I have spoken now, so shall it come to pass. For as the husbandman soweth much seed upon the ground, and planteth many trees, and yet the thing that is sown good in its season cometh not up, neither doth all that is planted take root. Even so is it of them that are sown in the world, they shall not all be saved.
Yeah, that's it. That's the point. That's the point right here. They shall not all be saved. Okay, so it's only going to be a few that's going to make it out of this whole nuclear destruction. It's only going to be a few. According to what that's the gold Ratchets. That's them that heard the word. Now it's talking about the few amongst our people that make it out. Because the other nations, you're going to have all the nations are going to make it out. You're going to have destructions among them too. But we need slaves, man. And also the scripture says that there's no end to all of them. So all nations are still going to be in the world to come. Right? It's that they're going to be slaves, man.
Underfoot, yeah.
See? But let's go back to this. Let's go back to that. It was in Matthew 13. Then you also had the definition of the word hearing in Revelations 1. I can't remember seeing that. That's cool. So take a look at that. Matthew 13. Matthew 13. Matthew's Matthew's 13 and 15. And let me bring out a verse for us before we bring that out. Matthew's 13 and 15. This 2nd Ezra chapter 9, verse 18. And now, when I prepared the world, which was not yet made, even for them to dwell in that now live, no man spake against me. For then everyone obeyed. But now the manners of them which are created in this world that is made are corrupted by a perpetual seed, which is what the law of sin. And by a law which is unsearchable, rid themselves. Which is the law of sin. They can't rid themselves of this sinful nature that they're in.
Yeah.
So I considered the world, and behold, there was peril because of the devices that will come into it. Yeah, the wicked works and the inventions, right? The idolatries, the wicked practices, the sinful mannerisms. So it says, so I considered the world, and behold, there was peril because of the devices that will come into it. And I saw and spared it greatly, and have kept me a grape of the cluster, as we're going into, and a plant of a great people. Right, just the vineyard was the Most High's choicest vine, the olive tree. Right? It says, and a plant of a great people. Let the multitude perish then, which was born in vain. And let my grape be kept, and my plant. For with great labor have I made it perfect, man. And how we made perfect? Through suffering.
Yep.
We're made perfect through suffering. The Lord purged his floor. And now he gathers the wheat into garners and gathers the chaff and throws them into the fire to be burned with unquenchable fire. You see? So with great labor has he made us perfect. And that's why it says what they say, talking about the sower that sowed, and then the heat scorched up some of them because they couldn't deal with the persecution, man. But that persecution served to make them perfect. You have certain guys that can't deal with the suffering that comes along with ministering this word. Getting arrested, your family turning against you. You might lose your job. You might lose friends in the world.
Having people look down on you because you're preaching.
Exactly. Being looked at as a madman. Right? When you come into this truth, right, you brothers, we're used to this. So we don't really see it as being anything. But I'm talking about a guy that just came in. He feels like he's going crazy, man. It's different. When you first came in, or when I teach myself, when I first came in, and I first started teaching, demons were fucking with me, man. Telling me, listen, I'll close that book and go back to you. I felt like I looked crazy out here, like, all by myself. And that's me battling, man, just to stay in the truth.
Yeah.
So it's persecution just to stand out here in the streets, teaching by yourself. You gotta battle them demons, man. I'm telling you, man. Right? Certain things you're uneasy about teaching. It's like you feel like that's mad. Chariots coming and saving us and what the fuck? Like, it sounds like crazy talk. Now I can teach it like it's nothing. And I believe it. But back then it's like I don't feel confident about teaching that yet, man.
Yeah.
It takes time. There's certain guys, even that's not even a part of GMS. I see them teaching in Brixton. And they can't receive reincarnation. And I told them, you gotta be patient with Jake, man, that come into the truth. Because you're not gonna receive all of it. Certain parts of the truth you're gonna be offended by it. Like the rape issue. Remember there was one guy that taught it on, he teaches around like my area, and he got offended by the rape issue. Or I say the grape, so it's a grape issue. I don't know if he's still offended by it to this day. So I haven't seen him in a while. But you know, you're not going to receive it all.
That was a stumbling block.
So there's levels to this truth, man.
Yeah, there's levels because there's certain things you don't know. And later on you find out.
Yeah, that it takes time, for the meat to fully digest into your system.
Meat, there's strong meat. That's true.
You know? There's certain guys, remember in Campbell Green, that short brother, he couldn't deal with the fact that he didn't have to enslave people.
Yeah, I remember him, yeah. That doesn't sit well with
He
me.
didn't like that.
Yeah.
So even that's a stumbling stone. Or a piece of lamb chop that he can't eat that, man.
Yeah.
His teeth aren't big enough. Yeah? The thing that's easy for us to digest. Thank you. Hold up. We can easily digest it. But certain guys is like, oh man. It's like, no.
Going back to what Caleb said. Well, Caleb, he says that it's a stumbling. That's when it becomes a stumbling block.
Yeah. But the Yahweh Shai is trying to eat the whole thing. The certain guys get offended. They can't understand it. They can hear it, but they can't understand it, man. It's like it's too much for their head to get round.
Yeah.
That's when Yahweh Shai said, "Listen, eat my flesh and drink my blood." Them niggas were like, "You crazy, man."
Yeah, let's take it literally.
You know?
Anybody else ready to leave? Anybody else
They
ready to
looked
leave?
at him and said, "Man, you said."
Yeah.
Yeah.
This guy's talking about cannibal.
You can't be
Let's see on.
Who's offended? Yeah? Who's staying? Who's going?
He said, I'm out here, boy. Let me leave that here. Hold on. Let's get that. Let's get that part where he said that they were offended. Let's see, that's in John. Is that John? That's an is it John? That dude. Shit, that's an
It's in John 6.
Yeah, John. John chapter 6, verse 51. I am the living bread which came down from heaven. If any man eat of this bread, he shall live forever. And the bread that I will give is my flesh, which I will give for the life of the world. Now, I remember back in the day when I read that, man, I was bugging, man. I was like, what do you mean by that? I didn't want to believe that he literally meant eternal life. Like, I was finding scriptures to try and maybe think that you just live long on earth. Okay? But you're not going to actually live for eternity. Like, you might live for 100 years and then die. But I didn't actually think that you want to live forever. My head couldn't even get round eternal life. That we're actually going to live forever. So it says, the Jews therefore strove among themselves, saying, how can this man give us his flesh to eat? Like what? This is a cult. He said, then Yahweh shall say unto them, verily, verily, meaning truly, truly, I say unto you, except ye eat the flesh of the Son of Man and drink his blood,
Vampire.
you have no life.
Vampire!
Get the holy water.
Yeah.
Get the garlic.
Yeah, man! Chain of garlic, chain of garlic.
Get the crucifix.
Even use your fingers.
Yeah.
Oh.
But that's where they get that
No,
from.
that's true,
Yeah.
bro. That's
But
true.
that's where they get that from.
That is true, man.
But they get that from the Bible. The concept of vampire resurrected from the dead.
Wow.
You know, resurrected.
Okay.
He died and came back to life.
Zombie.
And drinking the blood of the living.
Okay.
Right? Because Dracula, apparently, when you go into the whole myth, well, there's a myth, obviously. When you go into the mythology of it, he represented the order of the dragon, which is the